My name is Tunde Onakoya. I'm a National Master of Chess in Nigeria. I'm a chess professional and the convener of Chess in Slums Africa. Growing up for me, it was difficult. We grew up in a very difficult place. I used to go to a barbering salon on the other side of the road to play video games. So on one of those days, the barber brought out a chess set. I'd never seen a chess set before prior to that time. And, that was the first time I ever saw, a board, and I was just fascinated by the way the pieces were carved. And yeah, it's just love at first sight. I just fell in love with the way the pieces looked. And, over time, I would just watch him play and his friends. And so I picked up the rules of the game and how the pieces moved. So that was the first time I found the gift of chess. I didn't know that it was going to be a major part of my life then, but that was my first experience of chess. When I got to learn chess, when I got back to school, fortunately, the school I attended had like an active chess program. We actually learned chess as a subject in my school. And so it gave me a lot of life-changing opportunities. I won a trophy for the first time. For a boy from Salodo, from the ghetto in Ikorodu, winning chess, beating other rich kids from other schools. I remember the first time I ever saw a computer was when we went out for tournaments, right? So it helped me as a child to believe that I could become anything I wanted in the world. That confidence that I could excel at chess, a game that was meant for smart people. Growing up, I got a lot of opportunities, went to college on a partial scholarship, represented my school. I went pro. I was ranked number 13 in Nigeria at the time, and I won a lot of tournaments. I played chess at the most active, professional level, and till 4 years ago, sometime in 2018, I decided that I wanted to go back and use that talent of chess that I had and give it to all the children as a gift. Now, how does it tie into how growing up was for me? It's because I also grew up in the slums, right? I know the pain of hunger. I know what it means to go to bed hungry. I know the pains of poverty, how poverty really deprives one of opportunities, right? Chess was what literally saved me because it gave me an avenue to see the world for what it was, not for what the limitations of my community, showed me, right? Because for most of the kids that we grew up together, most of them got into drugs, crimes, and all of that. So chess gave me an understanding of the world beyond those confines. And I thought every child deserves. Imagine if chess wasn't the one thing that took me out of the slums. Imagine what I could have become, yeah? So, and that is the fate of millions of other children in Nigeria, across slum communities, because those are where children are most vulnerable. So I thought, why not just take it back to them, as a way so they can also know that they can become, right? So, that is like the connection between my own life and now going back to give other children like me the same opportunities I got through chess. It started as a thought, right? Because at the time, I didn't even have a job, so I was super broke. So I used to play piano in church at the time, and on one of those days, some of my friends then used to go to one place called Lungu to smoke. So it's a place in Majido in Ikorodu. Majido is a slum community too. So whenever we're done playing instruments at church, they will go there, I'll just go home. So on that day, I just said I wanted to follow them, and we just went there together, and I saw guys just smoking. I saw children smoking. It was just a slum community. There was no sense of a higher purpose, right? And it was in that moment I kind of had an epiphany that look at these children, the world is constantly evolving, and for most of them, they would never get to know that there's a much larger world out there with a lot of opportunities with technology, with the internet, So, and no one seems to care, right? And because this is a consequence of their parents being poor. So being in a place like this, it was a question of how will these children make it in life? How will they make it in life? And I just thought about what I could do. I didn't have money or anything. Since I didn't have a job and I had some free time, I could just come and teach them chess. I didn't know how it was going to put food on their table. But one thing I knew was at least it was going to give them one more thing to be hopeful about. Now imagine if a child from the slums could become a chess champion. People's perception about that child would change. not just as a poor child from the slums, but for a child that has intellectual capacity. So that was just the mindset behind it, to like change that narrative that it doesn't matter where you're from, right? What should really count is what you have the ability to do. So teaching them chess and giving them the ability to do it well was one way to change that perception, right? I knew that if they become really good, people would respect them and give them more opportunities, because talent is universal, but opportunities aren't.